Something very interesting is that Vaush, the streamer, is a serial sexual harasser. Yet for some reason he keeps making videos about how other people are sexual harassers or abusers or whatever, and keeps making videos where he gives people like advice on consent and dating, and like talks about how like it's a tragedy that women don't have enough sex with like men who they don't want to and stuff like that. And I think there's a lot of context missing from all of that, because the man himself is not exactly very good with consent. He's demonstrated himself to feel extremely entitled to women's bodies, and he's a proven sexual harasser. So we're going to go over all of that. First, let's just take a look at the basic evidence. Very basic stuff here right off the bat. Let's get right down to it. This started in 2017. There was this woman called Poppy who Vaush met in a Discord server. I think maybe it was Destiny's Discord server, I'm not sure. And they became like online friends. And he spent about a year just pushing and pushing and pushing and pushing her, trying to get her to cave in and to like speak to him on a sexual level and stuff rather than just being friends. And this first screenshot, it reads, Vaush says, "You're not a bad," or I assume she was having like a bit of a sad moment or something, and he says, "You're not a bad or even an incomplete person. Life is a constant struggle to adapt and improve yourself. You have a lot of things going for." And then she says, "I wish I was better to people." He says, "I enjoy your company. I don't think you're bad to people. I don't mean to sound overbearing." She says, "Hope we can continue to be friends, and please tell me if I'm not being so good." And now Vaush says, "So I am a buddy." And he has like a realization there, I guess, where he's like, "Oh man, I'm in. 2 lines later, he says, "Also, let me know if you ever want to check out my dong." Perfectly fucking normal thing to say. You see you'll have someone's like confiding in you as a friend about things that they don't like about themselves or whatever, a problem that they're going through. And you use that as like the second that they let their guard down, ask if they want to see your dick. And turn it sexual. Everyday, normal, non-abuser stuff. But don't worry, it gets worse from there. She makes it very clear, yes, we are buddies, but no, I don't want it. And then she's like, "My abrasiveness makes you more adamant about the dong thing." So I assume this wasn't the first time. He says, "What do you mean?" She says, "I mean, do you bring it up because I am cold and unresponsive about it?" And he says, "Are you trying to find the secret to keeping me from bringing it up?" My man pushed and pushed and pushed. So, and then he sent her a picture in the shower of like his finger or thumb or something, blurry, trying to say that it was his dick. So this is someone who has clearly rejected him multiple times, made it very clear that she only wants to be friends with him. He keeps pushing and pushing, and he tries to make her think that he's sending her dick pics. She luckily immediately notices that it's not one. "Please do not send me dick pics or I'll block you." Like, it gets worse. It gets way worse than this. And he keeps going. He says, "My dong, anytime, that will be the core of our friendship." She just responds in disbelief. What the fuck? Is that a typo? And eventually, she blocked him, cut off contact with him and stuff. And Vaush's reaction to that was to start just spamming a chat that they were both in, because I assume they had mutual friends in that chat and stuff, but she didn't want to talk to him anymore. But he started talking in this chat about how much he wanted to fuck her constantly. What is it called when someone makes it clear like 1,000 times they don't want anything sexual with you? You keep pushing and pushing and pushing and pushing. They block you, cut off contact with you, and then you start talking about how much you nonetheless want to fuck them. Pretty clearly something that we should be considering a rape threat, especially given that he said here that, and we'll get to it, that he wanted to physically hurt her during this fucking disgusting sexual fantasies that he was having about her here. She rejected him, and his response to that, rather than just being like, "Okay, I'll move on, whatever, plenty of fish in the sea," is to start spamming a chat that they are both in with the most uncomfortable, threatening, harasser, predator shit you could ever imagine. Here he says, "This is why I always hold my nut when fucking unstable bitches like Poppy." Here he says, "Let's be real though, if there were a politics meetup, I would absolutely be able to seduce Poppy." One of the things that he and his fans always say about this is, "Hey, at least I didn't do it in person." But reading this, thank fucking God they never met, because he certainly would have tried. And he admits it right fucking there that he would have tried. Even after he knows that she wants nothing to do with him, she's made it clear like dozens of times, he's still like, "If we met, I could keep pushing her until she caves in." Ironically, he made a video talking about how bad it is to do exactly that recently. Unfucking believable, the audacity. Just another collection of the shit that he was saying about her in this chat, long after she made it clear she wants something to do with him. Poppy is really into anal foot play and probably wanted to find like-minded people in her area. Poppy was gonna go to a munch. We talking shit about Poppy here? Just ask Poppy, the person I had sex with. The only reason Poppy thinks I'm neurotypical is because I have a giant penis. And here he says that he thinks Poppy thinks he's a pedo and that she's right to think that. Okay. Months later, this is literally like 3 months here after he first said that she blocked him. No, 4 months. He first said that she blocked him in November of 2017. And this is 4 months later. Hey Poppy, you're single again? I thought Poppy loved me. My only regret is not going in harder on your ass, Poppy. Good to see Poppy fraternizes with women of comparable intelligence. The next step is for Poppy to tell me all those women fake their orgasms. He's rejected by a woman and his response is to literally just harass her. Half of these messages sexually as well, half of them making reference to how much he wants to rape her. This is a bit presumptuous, but I think Poppy's reasoning and conclusion here are heavily motivated by her sex negativity. She doesn't want to have sex with me? Sex negativity. He says to her, literally, he tags her specifically. This is completely unrelated, but I want your opinion. I'm in Japan on vacation and I'm curious about purchasing the services of a sex worker. What choice should I make and why? Jesus Christ. Anyway, as this Discord's resident Poppy expert, I'm happy to answer any questions concerning her political beliefs and mental health. Poppy knows my deep dish prolapse dicking bloodline technique would leave her screaming like a chimpanzee, so she leans on me every time we're in a chat together. Poppy is the epitome of those crazy SJW girls reactionaries fuck and then make fun of with their friends. This one is him saying, I bet Poppy's never been stretched so far that her butthole pops out a little bit. How can you frame this as anything other than rape threats? That's what this is. He knew for months that she wants nothing to do with him. She made it clear dozens of times. He pushed and pushed and pushed. She blocked him and his reaction is essentially to threaten to rape her constantly. And then, this was all before he became a popular streamer, by the way. About a year later, he became like a fairly popular streamer. And Poppy saw that and she came forward about what he had done to her. And Vaush and his community, his friends, his fans, their reaction to that was to do everything possible to try and harass her even more into silence. So this is Vaush's then and still current sysadmin, White Nervosa. She suggested in Vaush's chat that he should change his name in the Discord logs to make people associated with his previous handle, Irish Laddie, so that they wouldn't realize what he had done. When reading the logs, they would think it was someone else. So she said, we can do a trickery-do here. We can replace all of Vaush's nameplates in the logs to be Irish Laddie. So per se, this does end up being a YouTube video. Then it will be titled as such and Vaush can further distance himself from it. Vaush Intelligence Agency assemble. This is Vaush again saying, after Poppy went public with the allegations, should I at Poppy in Destiny's chat and tell her I'm onto her shit? Might scare her into shutting up. And then once things got a bit too hot for him, once people, his own fans, started being like, hey man, this isn't cool. What does Vaush say? Guys, it's okay. I'm fine with people knowing I'm not going to apologize because I have nothing to apologize over. Just relax a bit and make fun of them when appropriate. Make fun of them. Make fun of how he threatened someone who made it clear a million times that she didn't want to do anything sexual with him. He threatened her with prolapsing her anus. Just relax a bit and make fun of them. And here he says, literally, this is in May. This is more than 2 months after the allegations first came out. He says, remorse for what exactly? At any rate, I've exhaustively explained how my behavior with Poppy wasn't sexual harassment. I have nothing to feel remorseful over, and I will never feel comfortable in the company of people who falsely believe I'm a predator. Well, don't worry, buddy. I'm pretty sure there's tons of people who would not feel comfortable in your company because they believe you're a predator, and they'd be right. The fact that I am given no chance to completely absolve myself of sin is very frustrating. How can you completely absolve yourself of sin? We can all fucking see what you did. Jesus. It seems I'm given no choice but to fess up and apologize for behavior I never engaged in. Very important context here, because he eventually did release a faux bullshit apology, self-serving apology, once it all became too bad for his brand. And this is important context to that because it tells you why he made the apology. Because it got too bad for him, and he decided that in order to salvage his brand, he would have to cave in and, make a faux bullshit apology. We're going to go into that too, don't worry. And then he says, the degree of social maligning I've experienced is so widely disproportional to the misbehavior I engaged in that I don't feel an apology was warranted to begin with. Poppy is and always has been a liar, and nothing happened with Pastel worth apologizing over. Pastel is someone else who did this same shit with, by the way. She's done it with at least 2 people. Poppy posted on Twitter herself, saying, he never once apologized for anything, but one would think he would apologize for trying to dox her, which he did try to do in retaliation for all of this. Shortly after that, this is what his girlfriend said. It would bring me great joy if Poppy was uncomfortable 24 hours a day. Does this sound like people who truly regret that what Vaush had done, or does it sound like people who were trying to harass his victim into silence? That's what it sounds like to me. Check this out. Does this sound like someone who regretted what they did?
Really nasty. Really nasty stuff. Nasty bottle. But that's the gist of it. Poppy is not worth apologizing to. She is barely worth the fucking intrinsic human rights to which all human beings are endowed, okay? She is a disgusting human being. And that doesn't mean what I did wasn't wrong. It does mean I will never apologize to her. But I would love to have her on stream sometime because she is a nervous, anxious, neurotic liar. And it would be really, really easy to reduce her to a sobbing mess. Publicly. Would this make me look better in the public eye? No, it would make me look worse. But it would be very satisfying.
Average, repentant sexual harasser. Very average, repentant sexual harasser behavior there. Very honest apology. Definitely not just made to salvage his brand when he saw the negative attention closing in. And another thing is, like, one thing that he and his fans love to say is, what? So I should just be like forever ostracized, like unpersoned for doing this? No, but to act like you're entitled to a platform that gives you like power over a bunch of unthinking groupies where you can do all of this again very easily when you have harassed someone in an online environment like this. You've shown yourself way beyond being unsuitable to have anything resembling a platform like the one that you have that is highly reliant on parasocial interactions, because it makes it so easy for you to prey on people. And you've already demonstrated yourself to be a predator in exactly the same sort of environment before. For some reason, they think like restorative justice means you do something bad, you release a false apology for it, and you have no consequences for it whatsoever. You keep your incredibly privileged position as like a millionaire streamer with a massive platform, nothing. At the very least, you should be deplatformed and just go live a normal fucking life where you can't prey on people like this. That's not fucking too much to fucking ask when you've demonstrated that you're incredibly irresponsible to have an audience like this. But they try to make it out like him facing any consequences for harassing someone like this, they act like it's like unreasonable, incredible to ever think that would happen. I wonder if they think the same about Harvey Weinstein and Bill Cosby. Of course not. And there is a very long, I will link it in the description in the comments. I'll link a bunch of shit there, in fact. A very long talk here with Destiny, where Destiny dissected his bullshit amazingly. That will be linked down below. We're not going to watch it here. It's way too long for that. And this is Poppy's account of what happened. Poppy said on Twitter, "After I blocked him for trying to groom me when I was going through a traumatic experience as an autistic young person, he told me he wanted to prolapse my anus. We have confirmed that. He literally said that literally. We had the logs, we went over that already, and rape me for months on end." Yeah, if you tell someone after they block you that you want to prolapse their anus, that's clearly a rape threat. Did not stop until mods got involved and never apologized. Then I found that he was doing the same thing recently to a non-binary person I knew but wasn't friendly with, and my heart sank. He outed me after I brought it to Destiny's attention and leaked logs which contained my docs. He has continued to smear me as a bad person did you watch the fucking clip? Yeah, she's not lying here at all. As well as the other person he harassed, and a perpetual liar and drama seeker. Vaush has perpetually, and his fans refer to this, like they try to frame this as just drama. It's just an everyday normal drama, okay? It's just a drama, petty internet drama, nothing big. That or like, Vaush is just a poor autistic man who didn't get social cues. I guess he didn't get social cues like the 12 times she told him she didn't want anything to do with him sexually. Was he not getting social cues when he threatened to rape her in chat 4 months after that, like incessantly for months on end? Was that him not getting social cues? You can only push these excuses so far before they become just self-evidently ridiculous. Self-evidently a bunch of people who would defend this guy if he fucking did the Holocaust, defending him because they would defend anything he fucking does. It's irrational. That's why their defenses don't make any fucking sense, because it doesn't come from a place of rationality. It comes from a place of idiotic fandom. They told her that she should kill herself, and from what we've seen of them wishing harm on her, obviously that's not out of this world for them to have done either. She said she's been told that her suicidal ideation was just attention-seeking and threats by his closest comrades, despite the fact that when I was harassed by him first, I was coping with the trauma of rape and countless other things, and indeed almost killed myself. I had a boyfriend 2 years ago when Vaush started contacting me who I was asexual with and had such a low libido. I felt like killing myself every day and had no one to talk to, and he took advantage of that to try to get sex. Clearly, in those messages, he was trying to push her to have sex with him. If she had shown any interest in that at all, he fucking certainly would have wanted to meet her in real life. And who knows what he would have done to her after that. It would have been even worse. She said, I never once responded to any of his advances. which we see in the logs. Obviously, she told him firmly that she wasn't interested, and he kept going. And he constantly tried to pressure me into sending him nudes, as well as sending me fake out pictures that look like his dick and pictures of him in the shower, and posting pics in public chat of his ass. I said multiple times no. After I blocked him, that's when the worst of the abuse started. He tried to alienate me from my friends in the community and spread lies that I was racist and anti-communist, tried to convince everyone that I was a liar and just starting drama. This is like fucking just textbook, the sort of behavior that Vaush and his community would immediately call out if it was anyone else doing it. Someone should like make up fake allegations about me that are just like literally like the exact same things, like take direct Vaush quotes, or maybe change them a little bit to make it plausible, and say that there's something to do with me, and like post them on his subreddit. And I bet like half of them will fall for it, just because it's not him. But yeah, she continues, he would at me things like he wanted to fuck my ass until a prolapse. We've shown that that's true, knowing that, oh, that's extra context. So she told him that her ex-boyfriend had raped her, like anally. That's why Vaush was saying that specifically, because she had confided in him that had happened to her. Holy shit. It gets worse. It gets worse. It just gets worse. I didn't know that until I didn't realize that until reading this. I'm reading this again. Holy shit. And she says, I take this as a serious threat of rape. Yeah, it is. He was weaponizing the fact that she had confided about actual rape against her to him by threatening to rape her again in the exact same way. Unfucking believable. He sexualized me in other ways too. The second victim was obviously mentally unstable, even more so than me, posting self-harm pics everywhere, absent at the time like me. He tried to argue it was okay to cross boundaries and pressure people because he was trying to fix repression. Like I said, he has not apologized to either of us, and there have been 2 other anonymous victims in the Destiny community. After this, he erupted, changed his name from Irish Lady to Vaush to escape culpability. That's another thing. The reason why he changed his name was to avoid these allegations that were all coming out at the time, and for which there is great evidence for. She continues, like I said, he has not apologized to either of us, and there have been 2 other anonymous victims in the Destiny. I already went over that. I can't verify this next claim, but someone who still watches his stream said he was sexualizing me on stream, saying I had incestual fantasies about my brother. Isn't it weird how the allegations come out, his reaction is to immediately try to fucking, like, not to deny the facts, you know. Obviously, if what she had been saying was untrue, which we now know it wasn't because we've seen all the evidence, it would be fine to come out and be like, no, that didn't happen, what she's saying isn't true, blah, blah, blah. He went so fucking far beyond that in the video that we watched earlier, and this other shit that he said about her, clearly just trying to attack her as a person, attack her as like mentally unstable, discredit her in every single way possible, to make people hate her. Unbelievable. To delegitimize her. He said, I wholeheartedly believe he, to this day, has no respect for boundaries and no concept of consent, as evidenced by him stealing his website's CSS from another streamer's sysadmin. Well, that's a bit of a stretch to link that to sex, but whatever. And another thing, the NB person he harassed, he claims me and them conspired. Yeah, he claims that because he harassed other people, it's a conspiracy against him. Maybe you shouldn't have just harassed multiple people. She doesn't like this person much at all, and she hasn't talked to them outside of 1 week in March after this transpired. He grasped at straws. She directly said what it would take for her to believe he had changed, a direct apology to both her and the other victims, both private and public, a willingness to learn about sexual boundaries and consent from feminists, a long overdue break from sexual commentary and jokes and slow usage, i.e. listening to the victims, criticizing others who endorse rapists, and a 5-figure anonymous donation to a sexual assault legal clinic or charity. Since he claims to make 6 figures, yeah, obviously that would be fair. Revocation of every time he has smeared me or any other victim involved, and to cease using the website that he stole from someone else. I mean, these are all reasonable things for her to demand. But in his supposed apology, he framed these as insane, by the way. None of this is insane. None of this is remotely out of the ordinary. So Essence of Thought has a great video where she goes over the apology, dissects it into basically Vaush ignored what his victim said about what he needed to do for forgiveness and set the terms of what he needed to do for forgiveness, which was nothing. And Essence of Thought's video into that is very good. So I'll link that in the description as well. And I'll also refer to it at the end because I'm not going to go over the apology because Essence of Thought already did it. I don't want to plagiarize her by going over it on my stream when I won't add anything. I'll just be playing the video, so I'm going to link it to instead. Poppy had like a post on Destiny subreddit afterwards where she went into this in depth. This was like a retrospective about like a year or two later. I was hounded for months after the stream, called all sorts of words by his fan base, had my private life dug into, had their Discord team try to organize a doxing brigade to find my information so they could sue me for defamation and also warn my school and work. People tried to dig up some very unsavory pics from years prior based on information I told him in confidence, and he posted it publicly, even though I begged him to not. Contacted my friends to tell them I was a racist conservative, even though I'm more left-leaning than most of them, etc., etc. There's no reason to doubt this at all, considering that they tried to silence her. Vaush himself said he wanted to scare her into silence. We have evidence of them conspiring to change his name in the chat logs so that it wouldn't be connected to him. No reason to doubt all of this. It fits with the pattern perfectly. The bulk of this was directed by him, as he spent the better part of the last 2 years leaving sensitive info in the logs even after being asked, saying that I was only seeking attention, crazy, unstable, and a sociopath, saying that I had a vendetta out to ruin his life and destroy him. How, when I have dropped off the internet since and he did not have much of a presence to begin with? Yeah, he tried to frame it like she was clout farming. Well, how was she clout farming when he harassed her off the internet? If she's on the internet now, it's with a completely new persona and no one knows that it's her. Great clout farming there. Saying I was an angry racist conservative who was threatened by him politically. Even after his very late apology video, most of the above continued. This just goes over how it's a bullshit that she was seeking attention. I don't think we need to give that idea any credence at all. Being a liar, blah blah, doxing and harassment. The doxing brigade to sue me for defamation was led by his girlfriend, Hyena. What's her name? She has another name that she goes by, and she's still a part of his community today. She says, I don't know if he knew. Of course he fucking knew. The original chat logs contained her docs, and I messaged him as soon as I found out he released them, begging him to remove them, to which he ignored me and said, why should I? And didn't touch them until I got a Destiny mod to ask. Some people in her personal life received messages as a result. She says, it's unfair that I have been painted as a crazy abuser this entire time when no one has heard a peep from me and I've done nothing the whole time. I was emotional to someone that I trusted in private, and his response was to sexually harass me. Now he takes advantage of my vulnerability still by pointing to that as proof that I am insane and that what I said about what he did to me is false. He has spent far more time talking about how I have wronged him by reporting his behavior to justify his actions than I have ever spent even thinking about him. And I mean, the rest of this document goes over how Vaush has essentially admitted to sexually abusing geckos. So yeah. And like the child pee allegations and stuff like that. But I wanted this to be focused on his sexual harassment because it's by far the clearest, most evidence thing that he very clearly did, that he got away with, that he never faced any consequences for, that he set the terms of his own redemption on. And I'm going to show you guys the Essence of Thought video here so that you know what to look for. I'll also be linking in the description. And look at the fucking recommendation. Andrew Callahan follow-up. He had admitted it. I didn't watch Andrew Callahan's channel, but he seems to have raped people in real life, or at least gotten close to raping people in real life. Vaush basically did something very similar. Just he didn't actually get to the point of meeting them, so he couldn't actually finish the job. You know, he tried to wear them down and down and down and down after they had made it clear they didn't want to do anything with him, until they just hoping that they would just begrudgingly agree. Luckily, his victims didn't actually meet him. Unfortunately, Andrew Callahan's victims did. For Vaush to be covering this, like he's some sort of neutral interlocutor who can just go over this, it's just vile.
Not exactly.
It's just fucking vile. Like he lectures people on consent in these videos. Give me a fucking break, dude. But yeah, here's Essence of Thoughts. That time, Vaush's career should have died, but sadly didn't. It was a very good video. I'll link it in chat now, and it's going to be linked in the description of the clip and the comments of the clip, along with the Google Doc and the Destiny video, so that you guys can look at all of this yourself. And this video, Essence of Thought, very specifically goes over the apology, how and why it's bullshit, and she does it very well. So yeah, that is all there is to talk about here. It's disgusting how Vaush's community apologizes for and tries to brush over this. You know, it's one thing to have done awful things in your past. I don't think that, you know, someone who sexually harasses someone on the internet should be put into a box and buried or something. But I do think it's pretty problematic when someone, you know, has a Discord chat where they're friendly with all these people and shit, and they sexually harass someone they're trying to bully them into interacting sexually with them after they very clearly don't, and then they threaten them with rape for months afterward. I think someone who did that, having a platform where it's very easy for them to access more very similar victims to that, is kind of problematic. especially since they never even gave a real apology that was not just full of them trying to delegitimize their victim throughout, and that wasn't just so obviously self-serving, and that they set the terms for, rather than doing what their victim had asked them to do. Because when you are a big creator, even a small creator like me, like I used to get, like, you know, if you get a message request from someone who's not following you on Instagram, you have to like purposely click it. And I've gotten like messages from women where the first message, they send you an image, and Instagram doesn't show you the image until you click it. And I clicked one of them the first time this happened, and it was like a random fucking nude. In an environment where people are sending someone like me that, or I do every fucking thing possible to try and make my community hate me as a person, basically. Specifically to try and avoid that sort of parasocial, like, groupieism from occurring. If people still do that sort of thing to me, imagine how many potential victims someone like Vaush, who has been proven to manipulate people in similar situations in the past, has. Like the guy Call Me Carson, who legitimately just like kind of fairly accidentally engaged in like a problematic like sort of power imbalance, like sexual texting relationship with fans around his age, without, you know, pressuring them or anything. He faced more consequences for what he did than Vaush ever did, and what Vaush did was just infinitely worse. They're not even in the same fucking universe. That guy, like, he went on like a year-long hiatus and was subject to so much shit for that. Vaush didn't even, like, stop for a fucking week, man. Unbelievable. Like, the pure lack of consequence and, like, the pure lack of introspection, the pure lack of remorse. It's just too much. But yeah, these people deny this shit way too much when the evidence is just so fucking massive. And this is why, by the way, Vaush would never invite me on one of his streams, regardless of what he says about it. Because he knows that I would confront him about this live, and he knows that him getting confronted about this live would not fucking go well, because it's happened before with Destiny. I wouldn't let him turn it into the usual shit that he does. I would just keep pushing. Hey, why did you tell someone who told you 15 times they didn't want to do anything sexual with you, they wanted to prolapse their anus, when you knew that they had been raped in that same way before? Why did you do that? Can you explain it, please? Isn't it funny how his fans call me insane to delegitimize the facts? Which I've just gone through so much fucking evidence, it's unbelievable. The same fucking way that he and his fans also called Poppy herself insane to delegitimize them in the evidence. Because they know they can't deal with the evidence. They know they can't deal with the facts. The only thing they have is to try and imply that if you look at that evidence and come to the only possible viable conclusion that this man sexually harassed that woman in an absolutely disgusting and abominable way for like 6 fucking months straight, and then did everything possible to try and harass her into silence. They tried to imply that the only way that you could ever believe that is because you're insane. When, I think the only way you could ever believe that is if you're capable of looking at the fucking evidence. So I had to make a video on this, finally, and yeah, that's why this is going to exist. As I said, please watch the Essence of Thought video for a thorough dissection of the bullshit apology that Vaush put out, that supposedly absolves him of all of this and means that we should never bring it up ever again. Like, at the very least, like, the guy could stop talking about consent. The guy could stop talking about other people who went further than him nonetheless, but who nonetheless acted in very similar ways to what he did with this woman. The least he could do is stay in his fucking lane. Like, come on, man. Yeah, that's all I want to talk about regarding that. There we go.